All right, what's going on, friends? In this video, I'm going to be going over 12 different things that you can check on your Cub Cadet if you cannot get this thing to start. Now, these are just going to be some really simple things that most of the stuff I'm going to go over would be in your manual, but I'm going to show you where everything's at. That way, it's not something really simple before you decide to take this somewhere and have somebody look at it. First thing that I'm going to show you is right here you have your choke. Right here is your PTO. This is what will start your blades up. Your mower will not start if you have this. If you have that pulled out like that, your mower will not start. Make sure that is in so your blades are off. If you have your blades on, it will not start. All right, second thing I want to show you that you can check are your battery terminals on your battery. Make sure they are connected tightly. Make sure they're not corroded or really dirty. Make sure you didn't hook them up backwards if you did have this disconnected. The negative should be the black wire, the positive should be the red wire. And while we're under here, there's a plug right here, this wire right here. This is your safety switch for when you're sitting on your seat. Make sure that's plugged in tightly. So there's a third thing. If you do have a multimeter, you can check your battery. Make sure your battery is sitting at around 12.4 to 12.6 volts. I'm going to put my multimeter on volts. 12.6, so my battery's good. Now if your battery would register and it's looking like it's totally dead, maybe you're going to just need to jump your mower. I'll show you how to jump this at the end of this video. And if you do jump this, and then I recommend running your mower for a little while, maybe a half an hour or so, hopefully it'll charge it up. Or if it's completely dead and you have a charger, you could just sit it on a charger and try to charge it up. But if you never unhook this and it sat over the winter, most likely your battery may be dead. All right, next thing you can check while we're under here is there's a fuse down under here. I'll show you where that fuse is at. And if that fuse is blown, your Cub Cadet will not start. If your Cub Cadet is exactly like this one, it should have this wire right across it. It's like a spring. You're going to have to push down here on this the right side and pull out on that a little bit, and that'll come right off. It's kind of tight. If you want to make it real easy, you could just unhook both of these. But if you pull this out and your wires are long enough, you spin it around, you should be able to sit it right here off to the side, and you pull this other metal piece out that's underneath of it, like that. Put that aside. Right down inside here is where your fuse is at, right? Right here. Right in there, that's where your fuse is at. See that little yellow thing? I'll pull that out. I can't do this. Pull it out in camera at the same time, but there's a fuse down in there. All you gotta do is pull that out. I'll pull it out and show you what to look at. Right there is your 20 amp fuse. There's a 20 on the top. And you see that little metal piece inside there? That will be broken. The one on this one, the metal piece is solid, so this fuse is good. If that metal's broke, just you can go right to Walmart or an auto parts store and probably pick up one of these 20 amp fuses. That's everything under there. All right, I shouldn't have to tell you this, but make sure you have gas in your gas tank. And make sure it's good gas. If you had gas in here and it's been in here for a long time, or maybe you let it sit all winter and you didn't put nothing in your gas, you may need to maybe siphon that gas out and put some new gas in there. And if you didn't put no stabilizer or anything in this gas, you may have a problem with your carburetor. That, you may need to take it somewhere and have somebody look at that. All right, while we're up here, another thing to check is right here's your spark plug. Make sure these are plugged in. This one's plugged in. There's another one on the other side. Right here. Make sure those are all both plugged in. Another thing you can check while you're on this side over here is your fuel filter. If your fuel filter has never been changed, that may be another thing that you could just go buy and put a new fuel filter on. It's not that real hard. You just squeeze this together, pull that hose off, squeeze that together, pull that hose off. You're going to might want to put some towels or something down. You might get a little bit of fuel down, but just pull it off, put a new one on. All right, another thing you need to be doing is you have to have your brakes on when you go to try to start this. Either you got to be pushing it with your foot, or you have to have it locked ahead with your parking brake, and then you can try to start it. All right, this knob here on the left is your choke. You're going to have to pull that choke out to start this thing up if you have a cold engine. Then as soon as it gets started, do what I did and just push it back in. All right, another thing I want you to check is right here where you're pushing your brake in, there's a safety switch right down in there that when you push this ahead, it pushes against that switch. It has to be pushing against that switch for this thing to start. Here, I'll show you. Right there. That's your switch. Watch when I push. Let me push this ahead. See that metal piece? It's going to hit that switch. So that switch, make sure that plug right there is plugged into that switch. It's these wires right here. Yeah, make sure right there that's plugged into there. Or make sure maybe no mice or nothing chewed on these wires. All right, last thing I want you to check is your air filter. Right here is your air filter. You just got to pull up on there. That should flop up. This is your air filter. Now, I've already vacuumed this out and blew that out a little bit. If this thing is completely clogged with grass, that could maybe be your problem. I mean, you can have a lot of grass in here and that thing should still start, but I would recommend trying to clean that out. You can, this clamp right here, at least on this one, you can just loosen this up with your hand. This clamp down here at the bottom. Down here at the bottom. That little clamp, that right there, if you just loosen that up, this will loosen this clamp up. And this whole thing, you can pull right up out and pull it out of that hose. And just vacuum this outside off. Or if you can try to blow some air into it, it might blow some of that dirt out. Or just go buy a brand new one. All right, let me show you real quick on how you can jump this battery if you think your battery is completely dead and you want to just try jumping this to see if that'll work. Also, you could just take your battery out, or if you can pull this close enough to your battery charger, you could just hook it up to a charger. I'll put some of this stuff down in the description if you want to check it out. I really like this little charger. You can put it on a slow charge, and it also will show you right here your battery percentage. So you know if it's at 100%. If it never gets to 100% or at least 99%, your battery may be shot. Before you try to jump start your lawnmower, I recommend taking your brake and locking your parking brake on. So you're gonna, if you've never done that, just push your brake all the way forward and push this lever right here down. Then let off on your foot. Your brake should stay forward and stay engaged because you're gonna be lifting your seat up. And you're not going to be able to sit on there and do that. All right. So now with that parking brake already engaged, we're going to hook up the jumper cables, and I should not have to get back on my lawnmower to start it. So once you get the jumper cables hooked up, you'll be able to just turn that key without sitting on it. Here, I'll show you. I'm not even going to sit on it, and this thing will start. See, it'll start without being on there just so my brake's pushed ahead. Another thing I want to warn you about, do not run this for a long time inside your garage if you have all the doors shut. I have my garage door open, and if I was going to run this longer in here, I would open that back door and the wind blows right through here, or I would just take it out in my driveway. I recommend doing this in your driveway if you can. But I'll show you how to hook up these jumper cables. I'll put a nice set of these down in the description also. And I'm going to tell you how to do this exactly how it tells you in your manual. All right, we have a positive and negative and a positive and negative. Make sure the positive and negative are not touching. Maybe lay these down on the ground and make sure they're not touching, or have somebody help you. So I'm going to lay the one set down on the ground and make sure they're not touching. Make sure these two are not touching. I'm going to hook up the red one, which is the positive, to the battery in the lawnmower that should be dead, or if you think it's dead. Just like that. Make sure that's hooked on there nicely. I'm going to lay this black one here on this piece of plastic. And I'm going to take the other end of your jumper cables and hook up the red wire, which is your positive one, to the positive lead in a good battery. If your car starts good, your battery in your car most likely is a good battery. So now you got to make sure you hook the red one, the positive one, up to the positive in your car battery, which there should be, either it's going to be a red wire or you'll see a plus symbol. Like here on mine, I can see a plus right there. And probably on this battery somewhere right up here, there's a plus. Over here's a negative. So I'm going to put the red one on the positive. And then I'm going to take the black one and put it on my negative one. Now you should only have one lead left, which is the negative one, the black one, that's going to go onto your lawnmower. Now they say in the directions to take this, clamp this on a part of the frame of the lawnmower. Preferably a part that is not painted. At least here on mine, it looks like down here, where you would connect a trailer, the paint looks rubbed off of that there. Right over here is part of the frame. I think I could hook it right on that. Looks like most of the paint's already off of that. So I could put that on there. That's the only place I think I could put that on. That's what it says in the manual, to put that on a part of the frame and then start it. If that don't work, I would probably just hook it right to that negative terminal right there. All right, you got it all hooked up. Now just go up to your key and try to start it. All right, well that's it. I hope at least one of them 12 things helped you out to get your mower started. That should save you a lot of money if it was one of them really easy things. If it's not one of them things, you may need to take this somewhere and have somebody look at it, or maybe have a friend that's really good with engines come look at your mower for you. If this video helped you out a little bit or you learned something from it, give me a thumbs up. Please leave me a comment down below and hit that subscribe button to help support my channel. God bless and have a great summer.